And now to our second leading story this morning. In line with the Africa-Europe Alliance for Sustainable Investment and Employment, the European Union, and in partnership with the Uganda Private Sector Foundation and the government, say that who are the organizers of the first ever Uganda-Europe Business Forum, say the two-day forum is to facilitate collaboration between private and public actors and partnership between Uganda and European businesses. Bridget.
Exactement, et c'est à la télévision que le président.
Indeed, President Yoweri Museveni followed the discussions on the first day of the forum on television as concerns about the spread of the new coronavirus intensified. He was represented by his Prime Minister. The head of the European Union delegation in Uganda, for his part, has stressed the importance of the forum in strengthening the economic alliance between Uganda and the EU. On Monday evening, however, the authorities deported dozens of European teams that had refused to be quarantined. The summit, which was expected to attract thousands of delegations, has suffered a heavy blow with the absence of delegates from Italy, Germany, and France and Spain.
With us now is our correspondent, Darren Allen Chiuni. Darren, a warm welcome to you. Good morning. How is Kampala this morning? To begin with, let's talk about this forum and its genesis, the first of its kind. It is in Uganda.
Hello from a wet Kampala. Thank you very much for your question. The Uganda-Europe Business Summit, the first of a kind, has got a genesis to do with President Yoweri Museveni. Now, a few years ago, President Museveni met with a delegation from the European Union, and he actually did share with them and told them that he was tired of Uganda receiving donations and grants. His view was to change so that Uganda would be able to make money rather than just receive it in form of donations. Now, the president's thinking this way went like he wanted the European Union and the European countries to be able to foster trade and relationship between Uganda and the European countries, that in that way, Uganda would be able to tap into the different markets in Europe so that the country would be able to export items from agriculture and other sector elements such as tourism and as well as trade, and also exchange of knowledge in one way or another. Now that thinking for the president in one way or another, if you compare with the statistics today, where Europe and Uganda, the trade that they've had over the last year in 2019, Uganda was able to pick up a trade deficit of about $95 million US, and that's because they did pick more imports than the exports they took to Europe. This is what the president thinks can change with a summit of this nature. He believes that the Uganda-Europe Business Summit can alter the status quo.
So tell us, what tangible benefits will Uganda be able to gain from this forum?
Now, of course, Uganda benefits heavily from this partnership because with such a forum that brings a delegation of businessmen from different countries in Europe, as well as the private sector and government of Uganda, it fosters heavy relationship for Uganda. We all know that agriculture contributes about 26% to Uganda's GDP, and 7 out of 10 people are employed in agriculture. The president thinks that with such a summit, you can have products, exports come through right away from agriculture and be able to get onto the European market, something that hasn't been happening, of course, recently. Uganda, like I've told you, registered a deficit last year in terms of trade with Europe. And here, if they're able to open doors, it means that Uganda can export items like items from agriculture. It can as well tap into the livestock sector for the country, where presently Uganda, about 1.4 million households own at least cattle. That means if the markets are opened in Europe through this summit, it means that Uganda will be pushed to produce more than the 210,000 tons of beef it produces annually, as well as the 1.7 billion liters of cow milk that the country produces. In that way, Uganda should be trying to feed its own population as well as feed and reach out to the markets in Europe. Also, through this partnership, Uganda will be able to move into the other sectors and have exchange of knowledge between Europe and Uganda, and that way it will be able to push the country to move into items like ICT and health, as well as tourism. And in that way, if there is exchange of knowledge, it will bolster the sectors and probably improve on the strength of the Uganda shilling.
A lot at stake, or a lot of optimism and plans there that you rolled out. The summit wraps up today. What have we had so far, and what is lined up for today? Tell us.
Now, of course, what is expected as the summit wraps up later on today, we are reliably informed that the president of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni, he did skip day one of this summit, but he's expected at day two of this summit, and he is expected to give to the European Union delegates, as well as the European Union community that is at the summit, his views on what he would want in terms of relationship with the European Union. Furthermore, he's waiting to listen to what the European Union has to put on table, such that Uganda can be able to harness the relationship they already have with the European Union. The European Union is Uganda's third major export trade partner, and that means it comes after the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, as well as the Middle East. So the European Union would as well be waiting to hear from what President Museveni is expected to discuss at this summit. And furthermore, also, it's been really key, about 22 individuals were barred from getting to the summit because of the fears of the coronavirus, and we'll wait to see how that as well further develops. But this is at a time where Uganda is hoping to improve on its trade and as well grow its shilling stronger and stronger on the international frame.
Well said, Darren, but this is how much we can take. I thank you very much. You hang in there for us at the forum, and we'll speak with you later. Thank you. Darren Allen Chiune, Africanews correspondent, speaking to us there from Kampala. If you're just joining us, you're watching The Morning Call, coming to you live here from our studios in Point Noir, the Republic of Congo. We are bringing you all of the stories that on the program, also on our website, africanews.com, in French and in English. Now, still to come on the program. A huge one for sub-regional integration as Brazzaville and Yaoundé Road opens up. Plus, it's Champions League night, but then one that will be played behind closed doors without fans in the stadium when Paris Saint-Germain take on Borussia Dortmund. The cause? Your guess is as good as mine. All of this plus much more after the break. Richard and I will be right back. Stay with us.